Now I shall be taking you on a quick overview of the source of what you will identify as the tool that took the superflu of the coronavirus that had already developed and began infecting people 8 years before the pandemic, but with the addition of biogenetics testing on this program, who was experiencing a lot of pressure from its corporate headquarters due to pre-sale acquisitions that were awaiting perfected results of augmentation methods and technology that provided the window of the greatest genetic accident of the history of the human race. But that is not the topic I wish to focus on. The subject I want to focus on comes many years later after they finish perfecting their process. A subject known as genetic augmentation, enhanced RNA sequenced chromosomes, that leads to the Augmented Soldier program and an initiative known as the Archangel Protocol. This program is a cold storage cloned augmented human hybrid that is suspended in cryostasis in the embryonic stage. 24 individual with the most precise genetically augmented splicing techniques and given the highest and most beneficial qualities that genetic augmentation therapy ever developed by mankind for the purpose of mankind's possible extinction. In the event further in the future, if mankind should experience one of the many looming possibilities of extinction-level events and mankind goes extinct, this program's technology is designed to survive the extreme possibilities that is predicted to occur, and once a safe habitable region or period of time has passed, the program activates and rapidly begins the cloning, growth and augmentation process to repopulate the universe with humanity once again.
CRISPR is a term. It's bacteria have an immune system that cuts invaders, cuts their DNA. And what we've done now, as scientists, we've now utilized that system, take it out of the bacteria, and we use it to create designer mutations, designer gene changes in animals and also in humans. So it's a bacterial immune system that corrects genes, and we use it all the time now. It's actually, what's interesting about it is we've been able to mutate genes for many years, but this is dial up a gene mutation. You can choose exactly where you want to make it. And recently, a Chinese researcher in our field came out and said he's engineered a couple of twin girls with CRISPR to be resistant to HIV, the AIDS virus.
The field of DNA editing and medical genetics is changing much faster than we think. AI and CRISPR technology have been making revolutionary changes to the field of medicine. Artificial intelligence is being applied in identification of harmful genes and treatment of disease. Though the specific use cases and applications are numerous, the importance of AI in healthcare and its impact on the biotech industry could grow exponentially in the near future. Multiple new gene editing technologies in addition to artificial intelligence will cause major changes in healthcare. The gene editing tool, CRISPR, short for Clustered Regularly Interspaced Short Palindromic Repeats, could help us to reprogram life. It gives scientists more power and precision than they ever had to alter human DNA. This new power includes the possibility of making people smarter. Even before CRISPR was used on human embryos, the technology was used to modify simple animals. There, the goal was to demonstrate that the technology worked. These experiments made us aware that with CRISPR, we could do a lot more than we previously thought we could. Scientists use CRISPR to change, delete, or add DNA to any organism. From a human embryo to a pig to a wheat crop, CRISPR does this by subduing a specific part of the genome and then injecting a new piece of DNA into the genome instead.
So CRISPR is an acronym for basically a system that is from bacteria that they use to kill and destroy the DNA of invading organisms like a virus. But we can now use that system to cut and change our own genomes. It's basically a DNA cutting enzyme that doesn't cut randomly. You can give it a barcode in the form of what's called an RNA molecule that tells where that enzyme will cut in the genome. Let's say you have a terrible gene that's causing heart disease. We take this CRISPR system, we say, here's where you need to go to cut. We can tell the enzyme to go and cut it, put it into your cells, it'll go cut it and destroy that enzyme and delete it. And you can also use it to cut the genome and insert new pieces. So you can both subtract and add DNA at will now, not just randomly, but what's important is you can tell it where to go, and that's the big breakthrough.
Currently, gene editing is already used in research fields such as human health, agriculture and environmental protection. However, CRISPR as a tool for human genetic engineering is still in its early stage development. With the development of CRISPR as a tool for genetic engineering, it is possible that more scientific advances are to come. Let us consider the possible advantages and disadvantages of this technology. In case of diseases, CRISPR has a lot of potential advantages. CRISPR technology holds a lot of promises, but we should be careful in applying it to humans, animals and plants, as it may promote and accelerate some negative phenomena on the environment and on humans. Moreover, many potential side effects have not been analysed yet. Could it be conceivable that at one point in the future we could increase the average IQ of the population? According to UCLA neurobiologist, the work in mice demonstrates the answer may be yes.
There is a new theory among astrophysicists. It is called the cosmic web. Ionized gamma waves of threadwork that connects each galaxy to the next. Through this network each galaxy rotates and moves through space respectively, affecting and causing a symmetrical state of balanced orbit from one another. However, it does serve an as of yet unknown purpose. That purpose is centered around your problem of entropy, that leftover residual energy from every object that exists and that required energy at the beginning of each child universe. As matter enters the state of decay, it goes through phases. Once the state of decay reaches the point where it no longer can maintain the structure of its physical form of solid matter, the elements themselves are still there, it's just the binding force that held them together, the boson particle, has become depleted and no longer can sustain the fused particle's structure, and thus they reach the end of their half-life. All particles within the physical universe are connected by this base law. Once this binding law reaches its end, then the state of decay occurs. When that happens, the now free elements that lack any boson charge fall into these junctions of the cosmic web and are drawn into the massive gravitational center that draws all solid particle mass that exist near it towards its irresistible pull. Once those particles reach the center, it is accelerated at extremely high speeds beyond the speed of light even. And once those raw particles are accelerated to a speed exceeding 2.7 times the speed of light, all final attributes are stripped from the particle as it is ejected beyond the barriers of the physical universe at those extreme speeds and is sent into what is referred to as the void. It is the region that lies beyond and before the beginning of existence. Particles in their most simplistic form exist from being ejected in the same way. Without any charge to fuse them, they linger in a state of nonlinear existence until their moment when the Creator's consciousness was ejected in a similar fashion along with the vessel, the light-bearer. Together their two conscious projected forms provided the inertia necessary to begin the first boson particle formation that in turn caused a massive expansion of physical particle mass that started the first microseconds of existence. The importance of 3, 6, 9 and 12 are the binary code within creation's design that signifies mankind specifically within creation. 12 is the binary base pattern that represents E equals MC2 or the Fibonacci sequence or the very particles of reality. 3, 6 and 9 are the binary pattern that represents mind with the binary perspective within the 12-digit binary system represented as 12. When seeing the universe from a perspective of ascension from the universe before ours, the astral realm, would require you to see the laws of physics that govern its physical structure and matter and all that stuff from a two-dimensional perspective. Ours is a third-dimensional perspective. The next universe after this one collapses into the singularity and expansion begins again with another Big Bang. That universe will be a fourth-dimensional perspective and so on and so on. Each universe becomes the supporting properties that expand the next universe's laws of physics into a new dimensional field, and the old universe becomes a new quantum particle field of the new universe's fabrics. Most likely you will understand what I'm saying, but at the same time you can't exactly grasp it entirely. You can't because you are a part of the third-dimensional field, so it's okay if you can't. So in conclusion, the entire span of existence, everything that was, is and has yet to be exists within a 12-dimensional field perspective, so it is the prime binary number of existence. Mankind can be found within that 12-dimensional field through those numbers 3, 6, and 9 used as basic numbers that detail the exact location within all that is. This is a version, however, in a form that mankind's mind can grasp and communicate with one another so that it can be understood by the entire species. This knowledge, however, being understood and given to Nikola Tesla was way before its time and a version of what I believe may have been forbidden knowledge of sacred wisdom. Based on the fact that Tesla's era was the turn of the 19th century, which was 50 years before a computer's basic binary format of ones and zeros was written and at least 100 years before astrophysics and technology was advanced enough to view the details within the universe that this topic was speaking of. Only now are we able to view the particle fields within the universe to apply such knowledge and truly grasp its concept, and just barely at that. I am curious if the legends of Azazel are tied into this at all. There are stories of his specific legion's warlords escaping confinement around this time thanks to Aleister Crowley breaking the seals that bound Pandora's box where they were kept, then disguising themselves within H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos characters. I think I shall try to tap a new source for angelic assistance with one who has seen the tales as I have. There are way too many loose adversaries for one archangel to wisely face alone. Others should be informed of this. Maybe if I reach out to the other known scribes and interpreters of their divine texts that are guided like I am, I can possibly get the word out without alerting them and bringing their wrath upon me before I can set up a defensive position. First thing though is to get this writing onto video and transfer it to my angelic outcasted form within the astral realm so he can transition and cross over into our universe. It's drastic, but it beats the alternative repercussions of total annihilation. Also, there is a strange entity residing within one of my closest pupils. When I say strange, I mean that he is from the first universe, what we would call the initial expansion era of existence, before the dark age of creation. The only species that comes to mind that would have existed then that would have any possibility of surviving and making it here would be a survivor